Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out here today. My name is David Zausner. This is Taesung Kim, Nate Chastain, Sean Burt, and we are Newman. So during the course of our time here at FullStack, we've written tests for applications. And while we all agree the value of testing, that there is great value in testing, sometimes getting the testing framework set up, sharing the right tests amongst the rest of your tests in your suite, and even remembering syntax can be a laborious process. We decided to make that process simpler, and thus Newman was born. Newman is an HTTP API endpoint testing tool built for the desktop with Electron, the mean stack, and incorporates Angular design. With Newman, you set up your tests, you validate your responses with plain vanilla JavaScript, and you share your test data amongst your suite of tests seamlessly. So here to talk about setting up the application and going through a test is Nate.
Thanks, David. So after downloading our app from trynewman.com, launching the app and logging in, users see their collection of test sequences. Each sequence is going to represent a different user story that they want to test, with each constituent test representing a different point along the path towards an API endpoint. So here we see we're testing these 3 user stories. Now let's walk through the process of creating an individual test. So here we're going to test that our login functionality is working on the Clarify API. So we're using credentials that we've already acquired, and we write out an HTTP request. We allow the user to modify that HTTP request with query params that are dynamically added to the URI, and we also allow the user to specify what type of request body they'd like to send. Ultimately, this is converted into a test by allowing the user to write a custom validator in vanilla JavaScript. Here we have already run the request. We've already sent the request in and gotten a response back, so we know the response should contain a token type of bearer. Here to talk more about creating a sequence is TK.
Thanks, Nate. So let's try building a sequence. In our example, we want to hit the GitHub API to test if a user can merge a pull request. So here in our sequence builder page, you can name your sequence and add tests to it. But since the order of the test matters within a sequence, we implemented a simple drag and drop interface to order your tests before saving it. After saving the sequence, you can run it from the home page to see which tests are passing or failing. Here in our example, we have 3 passing tests and 1 failing test. You can view more information about this sequence by going to the sequence viewer page. Here you can see such information such as the percentage of passing tests and when the test was last run. This is our current state of our project, but in the future we would like to implement certain features such as using Chrome HAR files to build our tests, using cron jobs to automate our sequence runner, and also allowing multiple users to work on a collaborative project. So I'll hand the mic off to Sean, who will talk to you more about the technical difficulties we encountered on this project.
Awesome, thanks TK. So the biggest challenge we faced when constructing Newman was actually designing the architecture that would power the testing functionality inside of it. Our original plan was to build a web app where users would input information into a browser about the route they wanted to test. That information would be sent to our server, which would spawn child processes that would make curl requests to the route the user wanted us to hit. We realized early on this wasn't the best solution because it would put a lot of duress on our server as we scaled up. So we decided to move in a different direction, one in which our server would not be involved in the testing process, and instead created a desktop app using Electron. In this framework, the user was able to hit the routes that they wanted to test directly from their own application, which resulted in a much faster experience for the user and a lot less of a load on our server. In fact, our server is only involved now when the user wants to persist their tests or their sequences. So this is the way Newman works today. We're in the process of deploying now. If you want to try it yourself, you can go to trynewman.com, where the app will be available to download in the coming days. Thank you so much.
Any questions?